I don't even use the word hope anymore. Hope to me is a negative connotation. Okay. Because, oh, I hope it gets done. So I like to speak the positive, like, I know it's going to get done. It's taking a little bit of extra time. That's okay. Ladies, grab your coffee, stilettos, and hop on the Hott Mess Express. Welcome, my Hott Mess family. What is going on? Kassie Kenna here with the Hott Mess Express, bringing it to you on a fabulous Arizona day. So today, y'all gonna learn today. Just kidding. So the weight of negativity on one's mind can significantly influence your thoughts and overall mental well-being. We all know that, listening to my earlier podcasts, you know for sure that is something that I suffer from or did suffer from. So we're going to be talking today on how the impact of negative thoughts can influence your day-to-day and how to get past them. So just going to be a quick, fun episode for you guys to kind of think. I'm gonna leave you thinking today. So what is an emotional state, right? An emotional state is something where you can contribute feelings of the positive or negative to reinforce what you're thinking in a cycle, whether it be positive or negative. So today, because we're talking, solely about negative thoughts contribute to a lot of feeling of sadness, anxiety, stress, which we all know and we can all recognize that those attributes are of the negative connotations, right? So the emotional state of being anxious or stressed comes from something that's going on negative, where you're just like, I don't know what to do. So if you put that into your relationship, if you put it into work, if you put it into just your everyday friends, family, whatever you're doing outside, how is it affecting you negatively? But more so, like, how are you affecting it negatively if you're constantly in a negative emotional state, right? So constantly thinking, negative thoughts reinforces the constant negative thinking and puts you back in that vicious cycle. In one of my earlier episodes, I was talking about how being a first responder or being a first responder spouse, because I deal with a lot of first responder spouses too, they unfortunately get to the point where there's a lot of negativity in the household. It constantly goes with, this is never going to be done, or you never do this, or you never do that, or you didn't do this. And when you utilize those words towards your spouse, that puts a whole negative vibe in your sanctuary, right? So we definitely have to think, like, how can we break out of that shell? Your cognitive bias. Big words. When you think about it, you're like, oh, it'll make sense. So negativity can lead to cognitive bias, such as confirmation bias. Individuals are more likely to notice or remember information that confirms their negative belief. So again, when you sit there and you think constantly negative, you start to believe in negative. So I'll use my fabulous kitchen remodel as an example right now, because such a negative state in my house. So I'm having a guy, the contractor, redo my kitchen, and I was really dead set on these beautiful countertops, these concrete white beautiful countertops. And in this whole process, it wasn't supposed to take a month. It's okay for me. I don't even use the word hope anymore. Hope to me is a negative connotation. Okay. Because, oh, I hope it gets done. Well, you're already putting a negative spin on it when you say negative, right? So I like to speak the positive, like, I know it's going to get done. It's taking a little bit of extra time. That's okay. Or it's taking a little bit extra time. It's all right. However, I really do need it to get done. So how can I address that, right? Instead of like, oh my God, it's not getting done. Anyway, so constantly thinking that and constantly saying that has literally been the mantra of other people in my house of, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't. This is bad. This isn't getting done. Da 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 da. And so when the topic comes up, what ends up happening? There's automatic anxiety in my house in regards to a stupid kitchen remodel, right? That should be a positive thing when you look at it. You're like, oh, I'm getting new counters and things are going to be different. It's going to be great. You can't think about that now because that person who constantly thinks negative is putting that negative cloud over everything. And you're like, dude. So it also limits your beliefs. So this is my favorite one, right? So limiting beliefs on people is something that I like, it blows my mind. And this going to the cognitive bias is like tied hand in hand because when you look at the prolonged exposure to negativity, it puts you in a self-limiting belief that anything positive can happen. So you say, Bree, you're going to, you know what? You're going to go out and you're going to lose 50 pounds. And you're like, no, I'm not. Okay, why not? Well, because like I don't have this and I don't have time for that. And there's this and there's that. And all I hear is blah, blah, blah. I'm being negative about myself because I don't want to do it. However, there's also the aspect of I legit have been told, or I have the negative cloud hovering over me saying, why? Don't do that. You can't do that. We don't have enough time to do that. Right. And that's not just you. And that's not, I'm saying that's not your personal house, but I'm saying for a lot of women, that's what's happened. Right. You've met these women that have been like, yeah, I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to do that. But like there was this, and this. And you're like, dang, that chick sounds negative. Can you relate? Nah, Karen's. But so, if you've ever been in somebody's presence, right? And I know you can think of one right off the top of your head who legitimately nothing positive comes out of there. Okay. Nothing. So their belief is, hey, can this be fixed? I don't know. Right? You laugh because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. People with these negative thoughts and the weight of the negativity literally start to just push out negative thoughts, push out negative beliefs. And you end up not wanting to be around those people because you yourself are trying to change and say, you know what, the world's positive. My beliefs are positive. Right? I had somebody send me a text message the other day and I was like, this is going to happen and I'm going to be so excited when this happens and this is done. And they're like, man, there is that powerful, positive woman. Yeah. And they're like, sorry, I was having a day because I was super negative. I was with my girlfriend. She's like, I needed that. Good. I'm glad. Right? Because again, people get stuck in this negative where they're just like, oh my gosh, everything's negative. And then positive people come up and they're like, God, she's just so, all the time. She's like always happy and da 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 da. No, like, listen, I can be negative. Trust me, I can be negative. I can be a negative Nancy, negative Karen, whatever you want to call her. But in all reality, why? Why choose to be negative? Right? Oh, Kim's over here sneezing, everybody. So not only do they have limited beliefs, right? So they doubt their abilities and potential for success. They doubt themselves, their abilities for potential success. Now, how many people in this world do you think fit into that category? Can you say that you're one of them?
Sometimes. Yep.
Huh?
I'll admit my fault.
Yep. So being negative not only affects your mental, it affects your physical, it affects your relationships, and it affects you from self-fulfillment, right? So I used the weight aspect from, a girl's standpoint or a female standpoint of, like, oh, I can't lose weight and this, that, and the other, or I've tried everything and it doesn't happen because the mental weight of negativity can have the physical consequences such as sleep issues, right? How well do you sleep when you're stressed? Not at all. Like we were just having this conversation. We can't sleep when we're stressed and there's issues, right? We're like, man, I gotta fix, I gotta fix. We're fixers. So it affects your sleep. And then which affecting your sleep affects your body's ability to recoup, fight off sickness. So now you have a weakened immune system, right? And if you are working out, it affects your muscle recovery, right? So your body's sleep is so important because that's your body's way of like, okay, now I get to recoup and I get to, remake some of the things that I just spent all day, getting rid of and in your mind, so it helps rebuild those endorphins and stuff. So that when you wake up, you're like, oh, the sun is shining. So, I mean, that's what I say every day when I look out my window. I'm just saying. Um, um, so again, it puts you, and then, you look at people who have like a lot of health issues. So heart risks, right? Stress, cholesterol, all that kind of good stuff. So if your body's not being able to recoup and fight off sickness and stuff, you're constantly sick. So what does that do? That affects your ability to work. That affects your ability to bring in money. That affects your ability to sustain life for your family. So that's why I look at people, I'm like, stop being negative. If you put a little positivity and sunshine in your life, things may come around. Well, is that really like, that just happens for some people? No. Like, how often have you said that? And you're like, that's not me. I'm not that lucky. Again, that goes right back to that cognitive bias of this is my life. It's negative. Right? So I tell people when you keep continuing to put yourself down and you're choosing the choice of negativity or self decline, I'm going to put, because I don't like some of the other words that people use because I don't feel like putting a negative connotation on it, right? But when you sit there and you say like, oh, I'm fat, oh, I'm ugly, oh, my butt's too big or my hips are too, whatever. We were just in a women's panel and I was like, yep, I've had 4 kids. I have hips.
Guilty.
Right? Stretch marks, those are
Oof,
another ones for moms,
guilty.
right? So
Yes.
they're like, oh, I don't want to wear a 2-piece because I don't want my stretch marks to show. Why? At what point in life did stretch marks become a negative thing? You grew a human inside your body. Now, mind you, men can't do this, right? So if they got stretch marks, we need to have another conversation. But female stretch marks, right? Why are they negative? Flaunt them off. You grew a human.
I think it's the fear of perception from others, not necessarily like your fear, but the fear of perception from others, how they view you.
Right.
That's so
So
big.
so it comes back to why are you allowing them to choose how you feel?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So we all care about what you think about me. Like, man, does, getting on podcasts, man, are people going to listen to me? Are they going to think I'm smart? Are they going to think I'm stupid? In all reality, I really don't, because I'm out speaking to people who are going to listen, who have these issues, because I've been this person. I haven't always been a positive Paula, right? As I like to call myself, positive Paula. I have been a negative Nancy, right? So I was like, I'm never going to get out of this relationship. I'm never going to get out of the financial debt. I'm never going to get out of the stupid whirlwind that I'm in. And I only deserve men that are going to treat me this way.
Again, using your past and your experience to empower others.
Mhm.
women, men, whatever the case.
Yeah.
So,
And let me be clear, not all trauma happens to females.
right.
Trauma does happen to males. That is 100% I believe that. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I have a friend who dealt with it. Never in my wildest dream would I've ever thought that that person would, but they did, and it's true. So this can impact men or males or females. So um the negativity that so we've got a relationship with Johnny and Sue, and Johnny's constantly negative, extremely selfish. And then you've got Sue, who's super happy all the time and positive. And when there is a negative issue, she deals with it, right? So you have Sunny Sue and negative Paul, right? Like, where are we at? Their relationship goes from being on one path to splitting because she can't stand to be around him and all his negativity and his selfishness. And he can't stand the fact that she's not thinking realistically. Okay, so who says that she's not thinking realistically? Her real life is positivity. I know this is going to happen. I just don't know when. And that's okay. But I know it's going to happen. I know I'm a good person. I know the sun is shining today. I love the fact that it's cold outside. I love the fact that my kids are making a mess. Now, the other avenue of that, the negative from the spouse is, God, this freaking mess. I can't keep up. It's cold outside. I can't take the kids out. It's way too sunny, which means it's hot. And, I need sunglasses. I can't find the sunglasses. This isn't going to get done. We've been waiting forever. And so they literally start bonking heads. And so what kind of relationship is that?
Well, I would describe it as narcissistic.
Right? And toxic.
Yes.
It's a toxic relationship. So one's trying to get fulfillment as the other one doesn't understand what self-fulfillment is, except in the negative. So it's a battle of good and bad. And so again, they start going down this path and the physical beings can no longer have a conversation. Trying to change a person's negative has to come from within, right? So this for me, as I look back at all my relationships, intimate, personal, children, parents, the whole nine yards, there were so many times where I was like, I'm not pretty. She is so much prettier than I am. Why are you even with me? You can do so much better. Or this is all I'm worth. Self-worth is huge, right? I'm not worth this. I'm not worth that. Well, hold on a second. Says who? So when people start to understand that changing the mind, realizing and accepting what's happened to them as a trauma and how to grow from it, the only way to growing is positive. It's understanding and accepting the negative things that have happened to you, learning from them so that they don't happen again, right?
Breaking the cycle.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, breaking the cycle. And it could be breaking the family cycle, right? It could be breaking the relationship cycle. It could be breaking the cycle on how you treat your kids even.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right? So a lot of parents get stuck in this the negative mind frame because of their relationships. So that's how they start to treat their kids. So their kids end up growing up with this is the only way to have a relationship. This is the only way that you can treat your future kids. This is the only way that you treat people. No. We need to stop with the negative and start inserting the positive so that when we do say, I want a fulfilled life, What does the fulfilled life look to you? Right? Is it uh, beliefs? Is it, a job? Is it having children? Is it watching these children succeed? Is it buying a house? Is it buying a business? What does that look like? Every person's different, right? But that self-fulfillment is never going to get had if you continue to have the negative thoughts push where your beliefs and the failures and disappointments cause or are caused by those negative things, and then all you see is negative outcomes. So again, I bring this up as an episode of that self-growth where I took the weight of the negativity that was on me, and I'll use the last 4 years, and I'll use the last 20-something years of the trauma, allowing it to control my life, allowing the negative relationships to control how I feel, how I reacted, what I do, what I don't do. And tell people, when you start putting yourself first and you start putting your positive encounters, your positive thoughts, your positive feelings, your life will change. The people around you have the option to continue to grow with you and to choose positivity, or they can continue their negative train wreck. And all you have to say is, it's okay. People don't think that it's okay to say it's okay, and let those people continue.
Where do you filter your negativity when you experience it? I guess would be a really good question.
Ooh, yeah. So I love that. Okay, so I always come back with a positive. Okay. And so I'll use my kid as an example because I don't like taking other people's life and bringing it in without. I'll use my kid. So my kid comes to me and is like, Mom, and he's my oldest. He's a big boy. He's like, Mom, I'm fat. I'm fat and I can't run a mile. And I'm like, dude, okay, first of all, you're still growing, right? Second of all, who allowed you, who gave you the thought that you're fat? Well, me. But where did it come from? What's your idea of fat? You're big for an almost 16-year-old. The kid's huge, right? I mean, like height-wise, like his build, he just comes from a bigger family, right? So you take that negative and you're like, bro, sit down. I'm gonna give you all of the positives in life. So when people come to me and they have negative, or even in my life where I'm dealing with problems on a daily basis, right? I take that negative and I look, how can I fix this? How can I address it with a positive to still get a better solution? Again, just going over the negative on how the negative outweighs, or the weight of negativity influences your thoughts and overall mental well-being. You got to remember that it's important to be aware of the influence of negativity on your thoughts and take the steps to counterbalance it with positive thinking, right? Being mindful, and if necessary, seek support from those 5 people that will give you a positive outlook on things, right? They're going to tell you the real, the raw, the ugly, which is what we push here, right, on this podcast, is be real, be raw, be ugly, cry ugly, laugh ugly. It doesn't matter, right? Because again, we're there to build you up, not bring you down. And the people that you surround yourself with need to do the same. They need to build you up and not bring you down. If they're bringing you down, I love it. Ed Milet said, if people are bringing you down, get effing rid of them. Dump them. Because you don't deserve to have the negative people with their ball and chains dragging behind you when you can just cut them and be able to walk freely. That is all I have for today, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Next time we are going to be diving into, I have a friend of mine who's coming on, and he is going to shed some light on some amazing topics. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Adios, everybody. I appreciate you guys listening. For more information, more reels, more crazy stories into my crazy hot mess of a life, hop on my Instagram. It's the Hott Mess Express, HOTT, the Hott Mess Express. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time.